it's Helene Foy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing, oh my gosh, this lighting, sorry. I'm going to be doing a bit of a writing experiment, and I've been thinking about doing this for a really long time, and it just seemed like a great time to do it. So before I get started, I'm going to be talking a lot about planning versus plantsing versus pantsing your novel. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with the term, I think this video is going to be pretty long, so I'm not really going to get into it too much, but if you would like a really good explanation of those terms, check out Autumn Ashley's video, and I'll link it down below. She has a great channel. She is amazing. I would highly recommend you check her out. But she has a great explanation of those terms. To put it simply right now in this video, planners are, I mean, it's kind of obvious, people who like to plan out their novel, people who like to outline, and there's different degrees of planners. You know, some people have a little outline, some people have a really intense one, and so on and so forth. A pantser is someone who flies by the seat of their pants. They don't really have an outline. Sometimes people tend to call it discovery writing. They just go with what their heart feels, and they go for it. They don't really have a specific plan or outline in place specifically. And plantsers are a combination of both. They do outlining to some extent, but they also do discovery writing to some extent. So I am definitely in the category of a planner. I am debatably verging into plantser territory for my latest project that I'm doing, the Rashindi Chronicles, my YA fantasy series. But I am still very much a planner. I need to have a plan. I need to have an outline, period, or I will not be able to succeed. So I thought, what better way to, I don't know, what better experiment to do than to pants a novel. And the way this idea came about is it is almost Camp NaNoWriMo, and I have a plan for that, which I will talk about in my next video, but it's going to be mainly focusing on my main, the Rashindi Chronicles, my main project. Now, I've had this idea for a steampunk story percolating in my mind for quite a while now, and I've been really excited about, I've been wanting to venture into it and explore it some more, but I don't want that to interrupt my progress for my main project during Camp Nano. So I figured taking these last few weeks of June, I'm gonna just let myself go wild, and I'm just gonna let myself have the ability to explore the steampunk story that I've been thinking about, but I'm going to do it by pantsing it. I'm not going to outline anything. What I did instead is I actually did a huge brainstorming session, and I just wrote it all down on my phone. It's basically just a conscious stream of thought. I don't know if that's how you word it, but I just like a brain dump. Just, oh, this would be a cool concept to play around with. Ooh, maybe we do some sort of scene with this. Okay, so I like this character. Maybe they interact kind of like this. Oh, maybe this could happen. And I just did a brain dump until I had some semblance of a plot, because I figure even pantsers know something of the plot before they begin. So I figured that was okay. But besides that brainstorming session, that is all the outlining I did. I have not done any character development. I haven't worked on the characters. I haven't planned out their backstories. I have done nothing with the setting. So this is going to be really interesting. But I know there are pros to being a pantser, and just like there are cons, and just, you know, the same thing for being a planner. And so something that I'm excited for is to hopefully discover some of those pros as well as the cons. And I think just stepping out from my normal writing routine and my normal writing style is going to be a really fun thing to do, and I think I'm going to learn from it. And also, I think it's just gonna be fun. At the end of the day, I just wanted something that was gonna be fun, and hopefully it'll be entertaining for you all. I know I'm definitely gonna struggle, so if you enjoy watching people struggle, stay tuned. Anyway, I'll give you, I guess, kind of a rundown, a basic rundown about my story. Actually, I don't really know if I can because I don't know a lot about it. Okay, so as I said before, it's a steampunk story. I'm going to be playing around. One of the main characters is a plague doctor. So that'll be fun. Something, when I was brainstorming it, you know, I've always wanted to do a steampunk story because I think that would be really cool. I love the old, like, Victorian times, and I love writing about that. I've read so many books, I feel like I could do it pretty well, especially since steampunk is kind of like an alternative version of the Victorian era. And so I feel like if I don't get things specifically historically accurate, it's more okay. Oh my gosh, this lighting. Okay, it's a little bit more like allowed, I guess, because it's steampunk and it's not supposed to be true to life. But, so I was planning, you know, to do like a Victorian time steampunk thing, but as I'm writing this, a lot of it centered around, you know, like my main character was in the army, and so was the other character, and it's almost verging to diesel punk, which is an era that I know nothing about. Not nothing. I know barely anything about besides, you know, what you learn in school about like World War I and World War II. What is wrong? I'm sorry, this lighting is just bugging me so bad. But my eyes look really blue. Okay, anyway. I'm spazzing today, just like this lighting. Okay, I don't know what's happening. I really don't. Where was I? But yeah, I barely know anything about diesel punk, so I'm really trying to like push the story to be as much the typical steampunk as possible, because that's what I'm most comfortable writing. But again, this is an experiment, and the whole point of this experiment is to get out of my comfort zone while having fun and just letting my creativity run wild. So, there we go, I guess. But yeah, I think that's all that I can really say up at this point. I'm just gonna go right into this vlog, and I'll be doing this experiment for about a week, maybe a few more days. I am going to be camping for the first 3 days, so that's gonna be really interesting. I'm camping with my family, and I think that'll be nice because usually when we camp we don't do like a lot of stuff besides sit around the fire and maybe swim, but it's way too cold to swim. So there's not going to be much to do. Hopefully we'll have a lot of time to write, but of course also I want to hang out with my family. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay, I'm going to stop before this lighting just drives me crazy. I will check in with you guys tomorrow. Hey guys, so it is very cold outside right now. I'm huddled here in my tent. My hair is just, you know, kind of a wreck, but it's fine. So I'm just huddled here in my tent, and it's a great opportunity, I figured, to get writing. This is day 2 now of my camping journey, and the first day I got here at about, I want to say like 4 o'clock. Maybe a little after 4, and my parents had already showed up beforehand, so most of the campsite was already set up, so that was really good. But we still had to set some things up, so I got about the first page written for this story, which I consider, like, I don't think that's bad, because one, obviously I was also wanting to hang out with my family a little bit, so I wasn't, you know, writing as much. And then also too, the first chapter I think is always the hardest for me, even if I do have a solid outline. So I figured, you know, 1 page, that's not too bad. At least I broke the initial blank page barrier, if that makes sense. I feel like that's such a mind block, just seeing that blank page, and it's always just getting through that initial intimidation of seeing a blank page. So now that I've got a solid page of actual writing in, I'm going to try and aim to at least finish this first chapter. Maybe before this afternoon. That'd be great. It's about, let me see what time it is. Oh, it's currently 10:42. So I guess I have not that long before this afternoon, but yeah, okay. Anyway, my plan, I'm just gonna write and write and write, and then when the weather warms up, maybe I'll go out and go on the canoe or something. Okay, so anyway, I'm not gonna bring you too close to the laptop because these are all first draft words and they're not very good, but it's fine. So what I typically do, you can see chapter 1 here, and I wrote a little over 1 page. Good for me, except, the thing is, it is practically double spaced at this point, so it's not actually as many words as it seems, but it's fine. So this is what I wrote. Now what I started with is I actually just did a mega brain dump, so just a mega brainstorming session. So while I didn't do any outlining, what I'm using instead is I literally just sat down. I had like this little kernel of an idea in my mind, and I just brain dumped it, and these like 3 pages is just a stream of consciousness, just me writing whatever comes to my mind. Oh, maybe this can happen. Ooh, here's an idea for potential scene. Ooh, I like this element. Possibly I can add somewhere. So it's not actually like a full outline or anything. A lot of this is just like random ideas that I want to try to work into it. So yeah, so now that I have like all these ideas, even though it's not an outline, I think I have enough material to work off of to at least get these first few chapters written. Chapter 1, I'm still kind of, I was really not confused about, but I just wasn't sure exactly where I should start in the story. And that's weird for me because usually I know exactly where the story starts when I outline, but here obviously I don't have the ability to outline, so yeah, I'm just starting from a place hoping it works. If not, I might backtrack or cut some stuff out, and yeah, we'll see. Anyway, so that's what I have written right now, and we are going to try to finish chapter 1 by the end of this afternoon, not the end of today. Hopefully we'll get to like 2 chapters by the end of today. That would be great. Anyway, yeah, I'll keep you updated. Okay, so found out apparently my water bottle was leaking. That's fun. Also, it's raining. So I retreated to the safety of this tent. But that's good because that means that it's just more writing time. So yeah, I'm gonna get going on that. I don't know what time it is. I honestly never look at my clock when I'm camping. I got about 2.5 more pages written, which is good. I'm not sure where the end of the chapter is gonna be, so I can't really like estimate how far I have left. I think it's gonna be one of those things where I just have to feel, okay, this feels like an ending of a chapter, and yeah, go from there. So yeah, I'm gonna get going on that, and hopefully, I don't know what time it is. It's sometime in the afternoon. It's probably like 1 or 2 right now. So yeah, I'm still gonna work toward that goal of getting the first chapter finished by this afternoon, and I'll update you guys and give you more info about the difficulties I'm coming up against after I write some more. Oh, buddy, what you done? What you done? Oh, Gunner, don't do that. Come here. Come on. So, as you can see, I got very sunburned yesterday. It's fine. Anyway, as you can also see, we're in the car. We're packed, ready to go back home. As far as progress with writing, not much happened. I pretty much crashed. But I don't, off the top of my head, I don't really have anything else I need to really be doing later this afternoon. So once I get home, I'm gonna take a shower, brush my teeth, and just be clean all around, and then I'm going to write. And so that'll be nice, because then there'll be nothing else to divide my attention. And I've been, even though I haven't had a lot of time that I've been able to really devote to writing per se, as I've been, you know, out here canoeing or hanging with my family, looking at nature in general, I've gotten really inspired. I've been very deep in the mindset of the book, if that makes sense, because, you know, I'm constantly thinking about, ooh, you know, what so-and-so just said, ooh, that would be a really good line of dialogue for a conversation between two of my characters or whatever, or, oh, I could describe something this way, this is what this looks like, or whatever. Sorry, there's this person walking by, he's just like staring at me really confused about why I'm talking to myself. Anyway, but yeah, so I've been really like mentally in the book, which is nice, and I think that's also something that I feel more obligated to do since I don't have a outline. So I feel more, I guess, aware of my story, and I feel my sunburn itches, and I feel not necessarily more pressured, but I feel like I want to be mentally in the book more, because I know I don't have an outline I can just go back to when I'm ready to write. You know, I have to constantly stay in the mental mindset of the story, if that makes sense. So that's been good, and I feel like I actually kind of know these characters pretty well, even though I haven't even got to the love interest hasn't even been introduced yet, but I feel like I kind of have a good baseline for their relationship without even having outlined anything, just by like sitting and thinking and mulling conversations over and things like that. So yeah, anyway, that's my mom back there. We're gonna get ready to go. I will check in with you all when we get there. Bye. Hello everyone. So it is day 5? We're gonna go with 5. I think it's day 5. And I'm gonna give you kind of an update. I didn't really film much yesterday because I was busy uploading some other videos to YouTube. I wrote a little bit yesterday. Honestly, there wasn't much to talk about. I just kept writing, right? I'm gonna give you kind of an update overall. So, strangely enough, I'm still on chapter 2. The problems I'm coming up against right now are not ones that are unusual for me to have even when I do plot. I feel like there's such an amount of discovery writing anyway when you're doing chapter 1, even if you have already plotted, because, you know, chapter 1 and chapter 2, the first few chapters there, you're still, you know, you're discovering the characters' voices, you're discovering, you know, elements about the setting and other things overall. And so it is taking a long time. I don't know if I said this before or not. I'm a slow writer. I'm a very slow writer, And so this speed is normal for me. I don't think it's necessarily something that has to do with not having outlined yet. That being said, I can foresee in the future I'm getting to the point where I know things, like I have ideas. Obviously, I did that whole brainstorming session, so I have ideas of things that could happen. But because I don't have an outline, I don't know scenes that need to happen in order to get my characters to get to that point. So I can definitely foresee pretty soon here I'm going to be having some issues with that, trying to figure out how to connect my different ideas that I have, how to connect those scenes that I, brainstormed or whatever. Yeah, but right now, strangely enough, the problems I'm having are basically like they're normal for me, and they're not something that I think is specific to discovery writing in general. I think it's just problems that I have normally writing. So the chapters are short in my story, which is nice because it helps me kind of keep the pace going and not get too like bogged down or whatever. That being said, I'm still in chapter 2, so maybe I'll try to get done with this chapter today. That would be nice. I'm not, trying to really set solid self-imposed deadlines or whatever. This is an experiment. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to just be trying stuff out. However, I do want to make sure I get far enough into my draft that it's actually an experiment, because, as I was saying, right now it's the beginning stages, the early chapters, and I discovery write a little bit anyway for even when I do plot, because I'm still getting to know the characters, so I want to get further into my draft so I can get a little bit of a better idea, I guess, and just let the experiment work a little bit better so I can get further into the draft. I don't know what I'm saying. I hope you guys do. It's early right now. It's like, I want to say 9 o'clock, but I was up really early and getting stuff done. So anyway, that's fun. I'm gonna start writing now. Bye! Alright, you guys, so it is the last day of my experiment, day 7? Actually, no, I think it's day 8. I've been writing for 7 days now. This is the last day, and I'm kind of just, like, recounting everything. My mind is not here right now, so I'm sorry, but we're gonna try to just power through and get on with this anyway. I woke up early this morning because I had a live stream with the amazing Autumn Ashley, and I'll link her channel down below, and you guys can go and rewatch that live stream if you missed it. We just did some word sprints, and I got a lot of stuff written for my project, so that was really good, and that's why I decided I might as well make this the last day, because I ended strong, and it's been more than a week. Anyway, so I'm gonna kind of go over some things that I noticed overall that's specific to me pantsing. So as I mentioned before, since I'm so early on in the story still, a lot of the issues I was having, trying to figure out characters and how the characters are going to interact, a lot of that is not unusual for me, even when I do plot things out, and I think that's simply because they are the beginning chapters, and there is still so much discovery for it either way, even if I do have an outline. I finally got to introducing the future love interest in this story, so that made things way more interesting to write about, and I'm sure to read about if anyone were to read this in the future. But yeah, so something that was a struggle for me was I hadn't done any character outlines, and normally I don't outline characters too much before starting a book. I do like to try to let them grow as organically as possible through the story, but I at least have some idea of their background and a vague notion of their personality you know, in order to be able to figure out how they're going to interact with the other characters in the cast. But obviously that was not the case for this time around, so trying to figure out how the love interest was going to interact with the main character, that was interesting. I did have a vague notion of their personality, but that was it. I didn't really know, I still don't really know a lot about their pasts or anything like that. And I'm discovering things about my main character's past as I'm writing, because it's in first person point of view. But it was still a struggle to kind of, I guess, have that first dialogue where they first meet, that first conversation. It was kind of a struggle to really work on that and get that going, simply because I didn't know how they were supposed to interact. I didn't know what their chemistry was going to be like because I didn't know the characters yet. And along those same lines, I also found it difficult just to write in general. I'm a very slow writer to begin with, but this made it even slower because I had no idea where I was going. With my outline, at least, what I typically do, and maybe I'll describe this a little more in a future video, maybe I'll go a little more in depth about like my writing style, my writing routine, stuff like that. But what I typically do is I'll do an outline, and it's a pretty, I wouldn't say it's like the most detailed outline in the world. I try, depending on the project, I try to allow some wiggle room for that fun discovery so that writing the draft isn't boring to me. But I'll write the outline, and then I'll have certain things that need to happen in each chapter. And so I'll basically copy that from my outline and paste it onto when I start a new chapter. And then as I'm writing, I'll keep scrolling down to that bottom section to make sure I'm ticking off all of those points I need to hit, all of those things that need to happen, all those plot points, all that fun stuff. And I don't have any of that now, so I'm kind of struggling to make scenes because I have like vague ideas like, ooh, this would be cool to do a scene like this, but that's later on in the story, not at the beginning here. So I'm kind of struggling to make these scenes or these chapters because I don't really have a list of things that needs to happen. I don't have that written out yet. I'm just trying to basically get them. My goal right now as I'm writing this is to try to get my characters to this point, you know, to those scenes that I talked about. Oh, that would be a cool idea. When I had my brainstorming session, I came up with a bunch of scenes, and I came up with a vague idea for a plot, so that's good. So my goal right now has just been to try to get them up to that point where the plot actually starts and where those cool scenes might happen. And I'm really finding myself at a loss about how to do that because I don't have my list. I'm such a list person, and it's a struggle right now. But that being said, so that I kind of talked a lot about the cons for me going from plotting, arguably plantsing, into straight pantsing. So I talked a lot about the cons there, but there have been some pros that I have noticed, and one of those things is, as I was saying before about characters, they are growing organically. I feel like the plot is growing a lot more organically, and the characters, especially within the plot, are growing organically. After that initial hiccup where I was trying to figure out who these characters are, once I kind of got over that little bump and they started conversing and having their, you know, introductions and stuff, then it got a little bit easier, and I feel like that their relationship is growing organically, as I was saying, because I feel like when we plotters plot things out, and I mean, I'm sure this isn't the case for everyone, but for me, and I know a lot of other plotters who have kind of talked about these same issues, what will happen is we'll do like these huge character, questionnaires or character biographies, and like fill them out, and then we'll come up with a whole plot, and then we'll try to make the two of them fit. But the issue is sometimes we forget to build the character within the plot and the plot around the character, and that can be an issue. And so I feel like when you're doing something like this where you're just writing by the seat of your pants, it's kind of nice because those things become intertwined, because you don't have a plot to follow, and what's going to happen is just the thing that's right for your characters. It's a thing that needs to happen to your characters. And I think another pro I found doing this experiment is that it's fun. It's really, really fun to write this draft. And I know when I outline sometimes, because I already know how the story's going to end, and I already know all the main beats, I know the plot twists in order to foreshadow and all that. There are good things about that, but I already know how it's going to happen. And so it gets sometimes to the point where it gets a little bit slow or boring to write because of that. But I found that with pantsing, it was a lot more exciting because it was like I was the reader in a sense, because I don't know what's going to happen, except I'm a reader with power. Like, I can decide how the story, which way the story is going to go. And that's a really fun thing to experience. So that was another pro that I definitely enjoyed doing. I enjoyed discovering. Yeah, it was another pro. Another con, while I'm thinking of it, is that this is going to be a beast to edit. It's going to be a beast. And I don't know, I'm not like a person who really enjoys editing. It kind of, I mean, it depends on what scene. This is my broken chair here in case anyone's wondering. I'm not someone who really enjoys editing, so I can already foresee that being an issue if I want to continue, you know, fleshing out the story and doing future drafts of it, which I would like to, because I think it's a pretty cool story and I think it would be cool to pursue more in the future. Right now, it's just more of like an experiment, a little project to get out of the way before Camp Nano, as I mentioned before. But yeah, so those are kind of some things that I have learned throughout this experiment. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching me struggle as I tried to do this. It was really fun, and I'm definitely going to do more experiments like this. And I am going to take what I've learned and maybe incorporate some things into my writing routine in the future. I might maybe try pantsing a few chapters in some future projects that I have, because I do think there are a lot of benefits to doing it. So yeah, that's something that may end up happening in the future, and I'll definitely let you guys know if I end up doing that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram if you are not already a follower. And comment down below. Let me know, are you a pantser? Are you a planner? Are you a plantser? All right, my phone's about to die, so I'm going to sign out. See ya.